Hello and welcome. You're tuned to the League Up, your weekly thoroughbred preview podcast. Derby Day tomorrow, one of the great racing days in the year calendar, if not the greatest. Joined by Paul Moady and Stephen Hunt with me in studio here in Petone. No BP again, boys. What's he doing? What's he up to, BP?
I think he's helping the Black Caps.
he was at that game, wasn't he? He was with his sons.
I think he was next man in.
He would have loved to too, don't worry.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's been happening, Paul? Good week?
It was a good week.
Yeah.
A couple of things stand out for me. One boy and one girl. The girl being Legato.
Yes.
And the boy being James McDonald.
Yeah, good point.
So,
I see J-Max going for... He's got how's his Cup week looking, J-Max, Steve?
He's going to ride every single race. I read somewhere around 37 rides over the carnival, the 4-day carnival. Obviously, he's going to be on a lot of horses at the point end of the market. He's going to try and beat his tally from last year. 10 wins recorded over the 4 days, so good luck to him. And I'd say those majority amounts will be losing liabilities for the TAB.
Majority? You mean every single one of them?
Probably.
Absolutely. Well, Paul touched on Legato and last week and the 1,000 guineas shake-up, and obviously also the 2,000 guineas as well. It really shaped that market, didn't it?
Yeah, a lot of people were touting Te Rapa last Saturday's moving day in terms of the 1,000, 2,000 guineas, and we got plenty of answers when it came to the 1,000 guineas. As you mentioned, Legato, just fantastic on the eye. She recorded some really good sectionals late. The race shape suited her because they went fairly hard to the 600, 3.3 lengths above par, and the last 600 was 35 and change. But look, she was awesome. She was dominant. Ryan Elliott already had the ability just to sit up on her in terms of the last 100, 150.
Yeah.
And comparing the soliloquy to the Sarton, the soliloquy rated 1 length superior. So there's not too much give and take towards the boys and the girls on Saturday at Te Rapa. I thought overall the card was outstanding.
Yep.
Finally, we hit a good surface at Te Rapa. The rail was back in the true position. I don't think there was a huge bias at Te Rapa. I thought a lot of the results were down to tempo related rather than any bias that you might have played out early doors at Te Rapa. So I think you can follow the form overall on the card, not just the 3-year-old events going forward for the next 2 to 3 weeks. But
well, that 1,000 guineas market's
how
pretty
did they beat
settled.
her?
Yeah, well,
How did they
that's
beat
the
her? She's
question.
now to $1.80. I think prior to the race she was roughly $4 fave.
Yeah.
Legato. It was quite intriguing the overall betting heading to the soliloquy because she opened $2.70 Legato v Pro S, who was roughly a $4.20 opening favourite. 10 minutes out from the race, Pro S was around that $2.80 mark.
Yep.
And Legato found herself at around about that $3.80, $4 mark. So they basically switcherooed from the original prices on Wednesday. I was saying throughout the week and also on race day, I just thought the map was overplayed in terms of where they found themselves for the majority of race day and the volume of money that was on Pro S v Legato. Look, I know it's easy said now, 7 days after the race, but we made a stand around Legato at 270 as original fave, and we thought there was enough tempo in the race and what she produced in terms of speed ratings at Te Rapa first up over 1,200, which was outstanding. Versus Pro S, who, look, she'll have a few knockers coming out of that race in terms of how she can beat Legato, but she was still a good run. She didn't have all favours in running.
She's a little bit unlucky out the straight, wouldn't she?
Probably finishes second most times, saying they don't want to take too much away from Romancing the Moon, who just found herself probably one pair back than what she wanted to be suited in terms of the map. But yeah, look, she's a $1.80 fave now, Legato, and the only way she probably gets beat, because she can handle fire out of the track if there was a downpour, I don't think that's a huge knock on her, is tempo related.
Yeah.
And if they absolutely crawled to the last or to the 600 and it was a real sprint home, maybe she would be undone there. But
that 1,000 guineas market looks, we've got the $1.80 favourite. The 2,000 guineas market, on the other hand, what are we doing there?
Probably more questions and answers post-Saturday.
Yeah.
Cognito being a beaten favourite in the Warstep Stakes down at Riccarton. Diz is Dramatic, who won that race. I looked at the sectionals in that race. It was farcical. They ran to the 600 metre mark, 18 lengths below par. So it was almost to a stage where my data couldn't recall it. That's how much they walked. And Diz is Dramatic was the leader on that occasion. Stacked them up, sprinted home. She may be a very good filly, but it's just hard to read that form lining up against the Northern boys when it comes to the 2,000 guineas, because the stable, Lisa Ladder and the Connections Go Racing have made it clear that she will take on the boys on the first Saturday of Cup Week. This is Dramatic, who now finds herself a $10 price. So I think it's the right call going against the boys. They can always back her up. But I think that's the right call. I think that overall the depth might be a little bit thinner, and obviously they don't have the high profile chance in Legato in the 2000 Guineas. And also you're looking at Dynastic, or what do you do with Dynastic? He's a little bit flat. What do you do? How did you rate his race on Saturday?
Well, he looked flat at the 500, didn't he? And he was getting ridden quite hard potentially, but his last 100 metres or 200 metres probably was encouraging. I would have suggested. So I'm sure they'll push on. He ran well, and he had a bit of a gap between runs. So yeah, I think it's all systems go. But as I say, that market now is just sort of wide open, and as you say, a lot of questions remain.
Well, I think the Weatherlys will be fairly happy sitting at home watching those races unfold on Saturday Arvo. They elected not to run on Saturday, obviously, with Pierre, the Hawke's Bay Guineas winner at Matamata. And he moved in even though he didn't run. So that just reflects on the murkiness around the form on Saturday when it came to the boys. He was roughly $4, $4.50 Pierre prior to Saturday's races. And he ran $3.50 after what unfolded. So. Okay. Look, I think he's probably the horse to beat. He has tactical speed. He has a turn of foot. 1600, probably the only query if it was a hard run 16, but I think you've got to take him on trust.
18 links.
18, I was going to say, you could have almost kept up. You could have almost kept up.
They would have gone quicker going backwards.
It wouldn't have worried you, though. You were on This Is Dramatic, weren't you?
Yeah, mapped it perfectly.
The speed map expert, Paul Moady. Okay, no BP, but we do have a Maiden of the Week, boys. And Steve, it's brought to you by you, the Maiden of the Week. Who have you selected for us out of the racing last week?
Yeah, we're going to go to Trentham on Sunday. Another really good, strong card. I think you can follow the form overall. It was on a good 4. We look here at the Maiden 1200 metres. I think it was race 3 or race 4 early in the program. The Robbie Patterson trained galloper and Pafore, who got the trail, had tactical speed to sit in behind Elite, who led them up for Lisa Allpress, but just comes off the back here. You see it roughly around about the 200 metre mark. Outside it, you had a horse called Pepeha, who's been a well-backed commodity in both race starts, so they identified that horse as above average, but it was a really impressive maiden win from Pafore. You'll see the sectionals up here shortly, which were very strong. Pafore, who was on debut, a son of Preferment, so it'll be a horse that probably looked to get over ground. Yep. You see there, they rated fairly slow for the first 600, 36 and change, 7 lengths below par in terms of open class. They've rattled home the last 600 in a very good fashion. I think it was 1.2 lengths above par, 33 and change. And the class rating, which is fairly important for maiden gallopers, was 3.4 lengths above par. So the first two stretched them out. I've got no doubt Pepeha can win a maiden in short term, but also the winner in Pafore can step up to 65 grade or possibly a higher grade 3-year-old race. But definitely those two are worth following in the next 2 to 3 weeks. Just individual sectionals on the day. Here you see the quickest last 600 of the day at Trentham. Impendabell and Langmore, who sit 1-3. Look, naturally they're going to produce the fastest last 600. There are horses earlier in the program, 2-year-olds in a 900 metre dash down the chute. Connor O'Kieran, who bounces out of a rating 88, 1200 metres, produced the second fastest last 600 of the day in 32.95. But there you see Pafore in number 4 slot, and also Pepeha in the top 10 of 33.46. So they are maiden gallopers. Yes, they're over 1200 metres, so naturally you'll see 1200 and 900 metre gallopers on the day in the top 10. But they did stand out in terms of their last 600, Pafore and Pepeha. So 2 horses I've identified. They've rated well in terms of speed ratings, and definitely they've got some upside in the next 2 to 3 weeks.
No, exciting time of year. Pafore, very good. How's Robbie Patterson going? Not too bad, Paul?
Very, very well. You'd be very, very
You'd be following him with a bit of interest, wouldn't you, Steve? He's had
9 winners from his last 25 starters at a 36% strike rate. So that is phenomenal. He had 3 winners on Sunday at Trentham.
Yes,
I think he's got Stan later on today at New Plymouth, if you're watching the show live, which has been a well-backed commodity, probably the best back runner on the card. Stan, he'll probably jump and run and catch me if you can type. But yeah, he's definitely a stable worth following. And it was roughly around about 12 months ago he had the same trend, a really strong strike rate at this time of the year in what you'd say the middle part of the spring. So, and he's winning with all prices, the pointy end and that middle end market as well. So he's exceeding expectations there, and that combo with Craig Grills was potent.
You're making me think I should find a Robbie Patterson runner for me best bet now.
Have you? Well, we won't spoil the fun. Yeah, well, why wouldn't you? To be fair,
yeah, right.
Craig Grillsy, you're a fan of Grillsy. You're a fan of Robbie Patterson. You're a Coventina Bay man as well. So
100%.
yeah, okay. Well, maybe we'll have to wait to the end of the show to see where Paul lands with this week's best bet. But we want to get into some previews for Saturday. Obviously, 2 meetings: Awapuni and Matamata. We're going to start at Awapuni, Steve, with the Fielding Gold Cup, the Moady Technology Fielding Gold Cup over the 2100 metres. But just run us through what track we can expect to see there tomorrow afternoon.
Yeah, soft 5, cloudy at the moment, rail in the true position. I think the drama around this meeting, and also Matamata, there's showers forecasted tomorrow on race day. So it just makes it a little bit cloudy, a little bit in terms of trepidation, punting early doors. You probably want to be, for a little bit of insurance, horses if you're backing today and obviously yesterday and maybe early proceedings tomorrow, horses that might just be adaptable on a little bit of give. Because the showers are forecasted for both venues, Matamata and Awapuni, but currently rated a soft 5.
Okay, well, run us through this Fielding Gold Cup market. Very, very even lineup by the looks.
Yeah, we're looking at it. Hold on a minute. We've got Aromatic a $5 fave. Even Chance has been the big firmer. Thaddeus open $9 now into $6. Rapid Falls and Red Hussar $7.50. Each of 3 also with Z4s. Pep Talk just has to step up in grade here, but the only other runner in single figures at $8.50. A Charm Star, the second best bet run at a $10 price. I don't think that $10 price will hold up. So if you're liking the Lisa Ladder Train Galloper, who is proven, looks a centre timing third up here at a $10 price. Might be a little bit of overs come race start day or time. Deerfield at a $10 price. Moroni at $13. Henny Parr at $14. Cork will be appreciating any Aqua on race day at $16, and Regal Rock finishes the lineup at $21. Oh, sorry, Quiz Kid does at $41, who looks to be the potential leader. So Aromatic, well backed. A couple horses also specced in that market, but yeah, a little bit to unfold in terms of where they settle come race day.
Yeah, it does look even, Paul. What are your initial thoughts here? Because you could have a stab at one at a bit of odds here, I would have thought.
Yeah, you certainly could. Let's look at the top of the market, and once again, Mark Walker and the Tiako team with Aromatic.
We say it every week, don't we?
We certainly do.
Yep.
Let's not forget she was only 2.5 lengths behind Mustang Valley in the metric mile here at Awapuni last month. We also what Mustang Valley did in the Liver Mile, so that's not the worst form to come out of. Even Chance, he comes off a nice win, over 2,000 metres 3 weeks ago. That's another race, though, where they pretty much walked.
Stacked them. It was a beautiful ride. Who was on it? Was it Sam Spratt that day? I can't remember. Anyway, sorry,
they walked in. It was just a sprint down the straight.
They did well.
End. I can't see them letting them get away with that again.
No.
No. Rapid Falls, she's had a couple of runs back and looks like she's ready to pounce. Won the Karaka Cup last prep, also finished in front of Margaret Jean at Ellerslie, who went on to win on Liverpool Day at Hastings.
Yep.
I don't mind the look of Charm Star.
Steve mentioned there was a bit of money for it too.
Yeah. Indeed. Look, Group 1 placed on both sides of the Tasman. Runner-up on the New Zealand Oaks behind the Madalenia. Finished second in the Queensland Oaks behind, was it Duais?
Couple of runs back now to get it ready for this third up.
And had a tough win in that Manawatu Breeders, beating the likes of Cinerama and Sam I Am Susie. So.
Okay. Well, Paul talks about Even Chance getting a soft lead last time, Steve, but what's the sort of setup looking like here for the Gold Cup?
Some torrid speed. There's going to be some heat in the first furlong or two. You see there, Quiz Kid, Deerfield, Even Chance, all 3 likely, excuse me, to be in that likely leading position. So, look, I naturally went with Quiz Kid as the leader. I'm not 100% confident because, as I mentioned, Deerfield, Even Chance like to be in that position also. But just with that barrier 1 Quiz Kid, he may have the advantage there. Look, I thought there was a position for Lisa Allpress to push forward and slide in behind the speed with Z Falls. I think she gets a decent run there if she can just be a little bit, or show a little bit of intent out of the machine, Lisa Allpress, around Z Falls, because naturally you got that speed, as I mentioned, from Quiz Kid, Even Chance and Deerfield to slot in the top 4 or 5 Z Falls, which normally can be her profile. Look, Corkscrew and barrier 2 there. Look, if the track holds up to a 5 or a 6, I just don't know if she's got the tactical speed on that surface to hold a position. And Look, she has shown potential to put herself in a race on a real heavy deck or a track, but I'm just not sure about the decent surface, whether she has that tactical speed. So I wasn't confident where she sits in the map. I've just got her in front of off pace, but that's purely just on the draw, but just a watch on track conditions where she situates. Joe Cameroon, I think he's just got to take his medicine on Aromatic here. Drawn the outside gate. I think they'll naturally go back, whether it's in the last 2 or 3, I'm not sure. There's a few horses there that have an awkward gait. Also Charm Star. Now, I thought Charm Star has shown tactical speed in the past, so they may decide to roll the dice and look to go forward. Tina Komanagi does the riding here. We know she can get horses out of the machine and put them in a position. So naturally, I've got her there off midfield, Charm Star, but she has shown tactical speed, even in the Manawatu breeders and also in the Travis Stakes to go forward. So they might chance the arm there. I definitely believe Aromatic will go back into the last third. But Charm Star with that wide gate, if it's not an early go from Tina, it might be a mid-race move around Charm Star. But yeah, intriguing runner there in terms of the map.
Yeah, look, quite a few horses at the pointy end of this market come out of that race at Rotorua, won by Roger that. Steve the Stephanos Classic. Aromatic was in that field. Z Falls, Rapid Falls. So that's obviously a pretty good form line. I think we do have that replay approaching. But
yeah, if we show that footage here, look, they've gone fairly hard, 4.5 lengths above par to the 600. So it did really set it up for horses just off the speed there. The likes of Aromatic. Look, Z Falls was on speed. Probably just the hard tempo in the first half of the race found out on Z Falls in the last 150. I thought Rapid Falls was a really encouraging run for a horse that's still finding its ceiling this campaign. But yeah, look, it was a good enough figure. Look, the class rating was just under par, fractionally 0.16 below par. That's good enough to be competitive in the Fielding Gold Cup. So if Aromatic and the likes of Z Falls and Rapid Falls still on the improve, if they can run a similar number to what they produced in the Stephanos Classic at Ottawa Park a couple of Sundays ago, it's good enough to see them in the fighting finish here.
Beaten by Roger that though. First up, Roger that. It was an effort.
Oh, look, he's a class horse, Roger that. I mean, he's not getting any younger. What is he, a 10-year-old now? Yeah. He bounces out of a very strong trial, I should mention. But, look, he's an Auckland Cup winner.
Yeah, quite right, he is.
From a few seasons ago. So, look, I think our stayers, in terms of 2,000 plus in the open handicap conditions, it does come down to luck and running. They can all beat each other on their own given day.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, do you think that's the form, Paul, the Stephanos Classic, or have you sort of got your eye elsewhere here?
I think they're certainly in. I do like the look of Z Falls, as Steve said. The pace was just maybe just a wee bit too hard early on last time. But Lisa Allpress takes the reins, and she's won a race on Z Falls, a listed race actually, as a 3-year-old, so she knows Z Falls very, very well. Had a couple of Group 3 placings over 2,000 metres plus last prep. So Z Falls will certainly be in it, and I think will be rated a lot better this time. We'll get to settle.
Yeah, okay. And you mentioned Charm Star. You do quite like that, obviously.
I really do like Charm Star.
Oh, really? Or really? Or
No,
come on.
I do.
Tell me.
And it had a nice trial win too at Foxton. So looks fit as a fiddle. I'm not sure what they're going to do. I don't know if they do roll forward. We did see that in the Manawatu breeders where they did go forward and just outlasted Cinerama, but maybe they take a sit in behind Aromatic and just get a nice little drag into the race.
This is a hard one to map, as I mentioned.
Yes.
I wouldn't be surprised, as I mentioned, if there's a mid-race move from Tina, if she feels there's an opportunity, if they slacken the tempo. Well, there's going to be heat, as I mentioned, for the first furlong or two, but if they decide to slacken mid-race and Tina's got an opportunity to go forward mid-race to try and put the horse in a winning position, then that might be the case. But she was a very hard horse to map. I look at Charm Star in terms of the weights and measures in this race, and look, she was given 3 rating points in April when winning the Manawatu breeders at Group 3 level, beating Cinerama. Only 3 rating points, so she went from 83 to 86 from memory. She's beautifully placed for what she's done on her CV in the last 12 months compared to her opposition. And I think with the presence of Deerfield in the field, being top weight with a high rating of mid-90s, she looks very well placed, sitting on the minimum of 53 kegs, Charm Star. So, as I mentioned, $10 just might be a little bit of gift from us in here in Petone. So I can see her climbing the betting ladder and probably, potentially, finding out that third line of betting come close.
Okay. Anything else to mention? We haven't mentioned Moroney, who's he's been a winner in the last 3. The other one I wanted to Pep Talk obviously resume with a win as well. So there's a couple there, Steve. But I mean, do we need to be discussing those?
Look, Pep Talk just on its last start win, even though it's dropping down in weight, stepping up in grade, probably has to find 2 or 3 lengths, Pep Talk. Moroney dropping back from weight for age. Liver mole is always a bonus back to handicap conditions. I think suits him more than the weight for age level at present, Moroney. Better tracker positive, so just watch on the rain, potentially on the day. I don't think he wants any worse than maybe an 8. Okay. But Moroney has to be a chance in what looks a fairly open race.
Yeah, very open. Okay, Steve. Okay, Paul. We just settle. Sounds like you might be a Charm Star man to me.
I've got Charm Star on top, with Z-Falls and Aromatic just in behind.
Okay, so a little box Cornella potentially as well there.
That's possible, but I don't mind the $10 just to win.
You'll just take the 10s.
I'll take that.
Who did you have on top, Steve, just out of interest? Or was it, you think Aromatic's the horse to beat,
I think
obviously?
Aromatic's the horse to beat, even though from that gate there looks to be strong tempo throughout with those top 2 or 3 that like to push forward. So I think she'll get every opportunity, Aromatic. Joe will just have to time its run and blend into the race at the right time and fractionally not just go that early and just be a little bit patient. I thought Rapid Falls was the big improver. Third up, showed quality last preparation. You go back to that footage, what we didn't see to the 600, it was 3-4 wide on speed,
right,
on a strong tempoed race. So I think that the run held more merit than what it actually looks like on paper. I think he's ready to peak. Rapid Falls third up here, and showed enough last campaign at Ellerslie on Premier Days to be more than competitive on this given day on the minimum. But again, this race in this market is going to reshape compared to depending on track conditions.
Yeah, okay, wide open. We've got the track there. There's a few things to play out here. Paul likes Charm Star, $10, and I can tell you there has been very good interest in Charm Star. Steve pretty keen on Rapid Falls and obviously Aromatic as well. Race number 5, gentlemen on the card at Awapuni, is the Courtesy Ford Red Craze Bowl over the 1400 metres. Steve, and Providence provides in 2 races currently, but he's the favourite here at $2.20, I believe.
Yeah, it makes it difficult, but I can understand Tony Pike accepting on both days, or both meetings, should I say, for Providence Provides, who also is accepted for Matamata, and just weighing up the track conditions. She looks ready to be lethal second up, so they'll just do the right thing for the horse, Providence Provides. But in terms of this particular market, she's a $2.20 well-backed favourite, peaked at $2.40 on Wednesday, accounts for roughly 60% of the hold. In front of Belclair, 5 into 450. Make time's gone out of turn, 5 out to 550. Langkawi, 5 out of point to $6. A Chijaba, who has been a firmer, 11 into 850, possibly a horse that will sit in the first 2. A Durham Lad, 8 out of point to 9, may touch double figures. Pull No Punches, 16 out to 21 soft, and Hunter Pence probably looking for 16 plus later in its campaign to be a serious winning turn, 21 out to 31. So look, there's a couple of firmers, Belclair, Chijaba, but overall Providence Provides is the best lead come Friday morning.
Yeah, okay, very interesting, Paul, with Providence Provides at $2.20. If you don't want to back Providence Provides, she's wide open.
Yeah, it is. And can we just touch on the no deductions? No surprises, because if Providence Provides doesn't start at Awapuni, what's 220? What's that? That's around a 40% deduction. Well, normally would be around a 40% deduction.
Yep.
So if you don't think Providence Provides is going to turn up to Awapuni, surely you're going to have a little stab at least one of the runners in the second or third line of betting. I do like the look of Belclair. She hasn't had things go all her way this prep, but if she's back to her best, then she'll be right in this. She's won over 7 furlongs against a similar quality fields before, and Sarah O'Malley has been on one of those wins, and she's been riding very, very well. At the 450, if Providence Provides doesn't turn up, just looks like a wee bit of a gift. I have no inside word whether Providence Provides is going to start at Matamata or at Awapuni. But if I'll probably have a go on both races and just have a look at the runners just in behind on the betting market.
Paulie, you're a bad man, Paul. You're a bad man. Providence Provides, Steve. Good resuming run, wasn't it? And I mean, it's run up against some very good horses, Providence Provides. I think they've got that replay here. It was a tough effort under a big weight.
Yes, this is important footage, not just for here, but potentially for Matamata, where she's a dominant favourite as well. You see there to the 641 and change, just below par. To the last 600, they've sprinted home 33 and change. Class rating was very strong. The eventual winner was Monza, who I think's got upside. But Providence Provides, what you didn't see in the first half of the race is she did over-race. She was first up, the blinkers were on, she over-raced, and that probably cost her in the last 100 metres here. She just had a tendency to lay in on Monza rather than go past. She was quite firm in the market, so they're expecting her to be forward enough to put up a performance like she did on the synthetic. She's showing quality. She's a black type performer up north and down at Riccarton last season. She's got a nice race in her. Potentially at open handicap level, maybe a Rich Hill or possibly set weights and penalties. She wouldn't be out of it of a Thorndon Mile in the right race, but she's definitely got upside. I see they've removed the blinkers for Saturday's assignment, so that might be just taking away enough gear to just make her settle in running. But I think she'll be a little bit more forward than what we saw on the synthetic first up. I've got a positioning in the top 3 in terms of the map. The leader, I think, looks to be Belclair. And then there's a fight who sits outside Belclair, either Providence Provides or Chijaba. One of those two, but whoever doesn't, whoever wants to take that relief and not have that battle a second outer, can just sit in the trail in that third position, which may be the favourite in Providence Provides. But look, she looks awfully hard to beat. And there's a few horses here that just have a slight negative. They want a heavier track than what they've been performing on, the Make Times of the world. I think Durham Lad is a real question mark over 7 furlongs. He had the race to suit last start and just knocked up in the last 150 over 1400. I do feel a strong 1400 is not in his wheelhouse currently, Durham Lad. And look, Belclair's probably the horse that can challenge Providence Provides if it doesn't come back or get too wet, the track, should I say. Probably looking for a better surface around Belclair, but can be quite dangerous for a horse on speed and likely leader.
Just on Providence Provides.
Yes.
Let's not forget, she was probably involved in one of the top bad beats of all time in the Canterbury Breeders.
It's ever hit the rail.
Where she had the lead, hit the rail with about 100 metres out.
That's right.
Had it all but one.
I do remember that.
Yeah, it was.
I had a ticket in my hand.
I'm not laughing. I'm really laughing because I remember it. And it was, very bad beat, as you say. Yeah, I mean, she's run up against some good horses. Looks well weighted, Steve. She's rating 80-54. She's obviously got the mare's allowance in this field, but well in.
Yeah, helped by Hunter Pence, who's got a rating of 92, and you know he's not going to measure up over 7 furlongs. We know he's a horse that really relishes 2,000 plus. He'll be looking at the Manawa 2 Cup, Whanganui Cup races like that at the back end of this year, where he's performed previously, Hunter Pence. So helped by that rating, because he's got I think a rating of 92 from memory, Hunter Pence. So he really does compress the weights. And as you mentioned, looks fairly well off the weights and gets that 2 kg mare allowance as well. Number 6, Providence Provides. So where she fits in the market in terms of an SP, look, she's probably not going to start any higher than 220 if the track holds up. But I'm sure Tony Pike, if he did go to Awapuni and it rained throughout the afternoon, he wouldn't take any chances and probably would withdraw her, scratch her. So.
Okay, let's say it does rain. Let's say it does rain tomorrow afternoon. Who does that favour in this market? Are we looking down the bottom here to the Make Times and Chijabas, or what are we thinking?
There's 3 horses that stand out. Make Time, you can't knock its form. It's got form around Mustang Valley a couple of starts back. Was very good run on the last day of the carnival at Hastings. Its speed ratings is well up to the mark in terms of an 8 or a 9 pentrometer. Chijaba, who was very good, probably doesn't need to improve much, even though it won at 75 level and now stepping up to open class, because you're getting that weight drop in terms of a minimum of 54, and that was on a wet track. And also Pull No Punches, who's just a swimmer. So they're probably the 3 horses that stand out. Durham Lad likes the wet, but again, I'm just concerned over the 7 furlongs.
Langkawi?
Probably wants a better track, probably in the mould of Belclair. Again, Langkawi, just want to see 1 or 2 more runs before it would get my dough.
Okay, Belclair on a better track, and then final thoughts here, and then maybe you can have 2 bets in this race, Paul, if you wanted to. What are you thinking finally in the Red Craze?
I'm jumping on Belclair. That's my only bet.
I think he has one on a slow track, but he prefers.
Not adverse to a wee bit of sting out.
Let's say that. Yeah, okay. Well, it's going to be awfully hard to beat Providence, provided you suggest, if it takes its place here at 2.2. Paul likes Belclare, though, and if that track does hold up into that early soft range, it will give Providence Provide plenty to think about. Right, what's next on the program, Paulie?
Is it a minute with me?
It's a minute with you.
Oh, wow.
The ever popular minute with Moady is back. I'm going to wait to see what the surprise is this week. Do we know who it is?
We do, yeah. It's the wonderful Mason Stevens.
Mason Stevens, training partner of Dan Miller. This week's minute with Moady.
Mason Stevens, 27, professional poo picker-upper from Matamata.
Who's been the biggest influence on racing for you?
Brendan Popplewell,
What was the first car you owned?
Nissan Pulsar,
Toilet paper, over or under?
over.
Most famous person in your phone contacts?
Brendan Popplewell,
Favourite NRL team?
definitely the Broncos.
Favourite junk food?
McDonald's,
Who should be All Black coach?
Stacey Jones,
Who has it easier, jockeys or trainers?
definitely jockeys.
Favourite board game?
No, I don't play board games.
Union or league?
Union,
Favourite cocktail?
Mojito,
Fill in the blank. The best Barrett brother is?
Scott,
First celebrity crush?
Corny Barnes,
Which player would you most like to see at the Warriors next season?
Stacey Jones,
Favourite horse you've ever trained?
Simo Uno,
Favourite movie?
American Pie,
You can invite 3 people to a dinner party. Who are they?
Bart Cummings, Stephen Marsh, and maybe Brendan Popplewell.
Horse we should be keeping an eye out for this season.
Heat 16, Maiden 4-year-old and
Yellow
up, catch
jersey.
weight 950.
Beautiful. Thanks, bro. Awesome.
Oh, bring back Stacey Jones.
Well, he's a Union man, but he wants
rejected
Stacey
himself,
coaching
didn't
the All Blacks and also playing for the Warriors.
Not bad.
I love it.
Yeah, what was his horse to follow? Do you remember?
I didn't quite catch it.
Nah, must have
I did
been.
back it though and it won.
It's already won.
It is.
What are the boys doing? We need this info earlier around Mason Stevens. Well done, Mason. Thanks for joining us. And Moady will be out and about, scamming around those trials anytime soon. Please
You
don't
made
be
your way
a
to the
stranger.
Central Districts, didn't you? Yeah.
Just when you thought it was safe to go back to the trials.
Exactly. He'll be there with a microphone. He won't bite, Paul, so go up and say hello if you see him at a trial meeting near you. Okay, Matamata, the other meeting, gentlemen. What are we looking at a track condition here, Steve? We're going to have a look at a couple of races, but how's this track going to hold up?
Yeah, almost identical to Awapuni. We're seeing a soft 5 there. Rail out 6 metres at Matamata. We had that meeting a couple of weeks ago. I thought it played okay. There was a natural trend by the public that it played on speed, but I think that's just Matamata in general. I did my numbers and it didn't play more biased than a normal Matamata meeting. I thought a few races were tempo related, but obviously you naturally gravitate towards horses that put themselves in the race at Matamata with that slight turning home bend. But yeah, again, it's just a big watch on the weather gods on race day. Again, there's showers forecasted, probably a little bit more than what's forecasted at Awapuni. So hopefully, fingers crossed, that it doesn't eventuate to a big downgrade, but currently a soft 5.
Okay, run us through this market. Race number 6 we're going to start with, and that's the rating 75 benchmark over the 1,200 metres. And boy, oh boy, we've got a bumper field here. We've got a few scratchings to come out, obviously, at some point, but obviously there'll be no deductions around that. Who's the favourite here, Steve?
Cracking field, a really hot field, which there'll be a stack of form going forward. Look, Fashion Shoot, who's up and going at a $4.50 price tag. Look, Pin Me Up, the stablemate, haven't been seen since winning the Karaka Classic in January at a $5 price. Sassy Merlot at a $5 second line, equal with Pin Me Up. Probably out of the 2 and the 3, the 3 and the 2, Sassy Merlot, the better back runner. Pisco Sour needs a couple of scratchings to make the field at a $7 price. A Show Courage, a go forward type, has been well identified, 9 into 750. Cote de Buin, another Tiakau train galloper, $8. Now, that was $11 when I walked out of the office yesterday.
Who are we talking about? Mohawk Brave here, Steve?
No, Cote de Buin.
Oh, Cote de Buin, sorry.
Yeah, 11 into 8, so that's been firmed. Mohawk Brave, just gone the other way, 8 out to 9. A Cool Change, 11 out to 13. Habana, 11 out to 13. And outside that, there really isn't too much to speak of in terms of firmers. Look, Orange Pearl has remained at the opening quote of $16. But look, the lead probably sits around Fashion Shoot, Sassy Merlot at the pointy end. As I mentioned, those firmers around Show Courage and Cote de Buin are two that punters have identified in that middle market. But I think there's a little bit to develop between now and this time tomorrow.
I think there's plenty to develop here. I'd be watching Tangerine very closely in this race, wouldn't you?
Well, they've got 5 of the top 7 in the market.
Yeah, if we see any movement, we'll be stepping in.
Well, as Steve said, Pisco Sour's going to need a wee bit of help to get into the field proper. But at the top of the market, well, usually when we've got this many Tiako runners,
we've got Opie.
We look for Opie.
Sorry,
right?
Yes, exactly.
So
he's not there.
He's having a rest.
Yeah, sure.
So where do we go? So where's the pointer now?
Yeah.
Obviously, Fashion Shoot, a big chance. She's got back in her last couple of starts and still managed to win, the 1-2 back.
Yes.
It cost her last time, though. I don't know, from the draw, you got a speed map for that? I'm guessing they'll slot somewhere just back in midfield and get her handy enough as they come into the straight, hopefully to go around the field.
Yeah.
Pin Me Up, crack a million mile winner.
Quality
also
yours.
beat St. Bathans as a 3-year-old.
Yep.
The bone chip, I don't know. Had the bone chip removed. Had a trial since then, a trial win. So looks good enough. And Kelsey Hannon's been riding very, very well past.
She's wreaking havoc, Kelsey Hannon.
Gets the 3 kilo claim as well. So what? Only lopping around 55 and a half.
Yep.
Pin Me Up's got to be a chance. And Sassy Merlot. I believe Steve's got a bit of an opinion about this one here.
Yeah.
Sassy Merlot.
Well, I think Fashion Shoot's the one you mentioned as the favourite, who was a little bit unlucky second last time out, Stephen. I think we have that footage around Fashion Shoot. I think Cote de Buin in this race as well.
There's a few that bounce out of this race, as you mentioned. Cote de Buin, who drew wide that day, had to go back, take its medicine. Fashion Shoot, I think, is going to map in a similar position. You see it in the blue hat coming down the centre part of the track. Chulla, the stablemate, led on this occasion, was too good. The sectionals there, look, they're solid. Remember, this is referring to open class to the 600 and last 600. Class rating almost bang on par. The 4-force there, La Bella Beals, has been a subsequent winner at Te Rapa last Saturday, so there's some form already bouncing out of this particular event. Just with Fashion Shoot, look, she's a safe bet because she's up and running. I loved her win at Te Rapa when the market identified her as clearly the horse to beat that day. Last start, she was pretty good. She was probably as good as she could be considering the tempo of the race. They didn't go extremely hard up front as we saw there in the numbers. She drew wide, she had to go back, and as I mentioned, she's got an almost identical marble on Saturday, so she's probably going to be back in the last third, Fashion Shoot, which is a slight concern if you want to dive into the $4.50. She did run home the fastest 8.64 closing splits in that Chulla race. She just knocked up in the last 200 because of the work she had to do from the 800. She had to come across a few heels, go wide on the turn, and then really motor home. So there was a slight knock up in terms of her ratings or speed ratings in the last 200, but overall it was a very good run. Just don't pin me up. Look, you just got to.
Is there any money for him? Is there any money?
No, there
for
is no money for him at this stage.
Okay.
Look, he hasn't been seen for 278 days. That was his last victory/run in the Karaka Classic at the back end of January. He's had 2 trials leading in. There was good encouraging signs from his first trial to his second trial. There was natural improvement just on the eye. He won his most latest or recent trial, Pin Me Up. Just over 1,200 metres. Look, he's drawn barrier 1, so he may get in a sticky position along the paint/rail, maybe in that neutral position. He'll just need a few opportunities to open up in the straight. So just don't think he has the tactical speed over 1,200 to put himself in a winning or in a running position. But look, I think around Pin Me Up, you just want to watch him, see what he produces in maybe 1, potentially 2 runs before you're diving in when he gets to 7 furlongs and even to 1,600.
We've got breaking news here. I'm going to break in. This is how's this?
Yeah.
Breaking into our current program, because I think after last week's disappointment, we may have Aidan Rodley live from Melbourne, and we know what a leg up fan he is. We know what a leg up fan he is. Hello to the man with the best job at the TAB. How are you, Aidan?
Very good, guys. Yeah, I probably do have the best job at the TAB at the moment. It's certainly been a really entertaining last couple of weeks in Australia. We've got round and got some really good interviews with key participants as well. I can tell you we're at Flemington at the moment, as you can see, maybe not the Mackay Diva statue behind us and then the grandstands and the roses and things, but we had a decent downpour yesterday and it is just starting to rain again now as well. We are down to soft 7 conditions, and this rain will not be doing that track any favours.
So what does that do, Aidan, for the likes of La Creek and obviously Sharp and Smart, Mr. Mozart as well, and
Maestro.
Mr. Maestro, thank you, and Lickety Split as well. What about the Kiwi chances tomorrow on Derby Day?
I think they would have all preferred better tracks than what they'll probably get. What we needed was a dry day today because this track really does drain well, but that needs conditions to be drying is what Liam O'Keefe, the track manager, told us yesterday as well. So, yeah, we did see Sharp and Smart really good in the Gloaming Stakes on a testing track at Warwick Farm, and then another wet track last time out in the Spring Champion Stakes when he was winning. I think the 2,500 metres right up his alley. And Mr. Maestro was terrific as well. Yeah, he's got rain-affected track form. He's won on slow and heavy going, but yeah, I'm pretty sure that these are classy Kiwis that are big players and big races, and they would have preferred the best footing possible.
You guys got a question for? I think it's raining as we speak, so if we can keep Aidan out there. Any questions, boys, for Aidan while we keep him in the rain? Melbourne Cup winner or something? What do you need?
Well, let's start at race 1 on Saturday, the Carbine, because we've taken a stack of money on a Chris Waller train runner, Pungo, who that has some notorious owners, should I say.
Dag McCullum.
Carl Urban.
Carl Urban. Yeah,
Wow,
yeah, very good.
The chances of Pungo, have you heard anything?
Well, I did watch Chris Waller's little interview yesterday. They're pretty happy with him. By all accounts, ran the quickest last 200 of any horse wing clearing Maiden company last time out on that day. This is a massive step up to a Group 3 race that Chris Waller has won for the last couple of years as well. So James McDonald aboard, I think that's a really good pointer to the horse's chances. I went to the top of the book in that race. I was pretty keen about the chances of Tijuana, who was pretty good last time out and running 5th in the Caulfield Guineas, had won the Group 2 stakes a couple of starts back. So, yeah, but Pungo has, or how do you say it, Pungo? I'm not too sure. Anyhow, it's favourite.
I see you're getting a little bit wet there, Aidan, so we will let you go. But before you do, I want your early Melbourne Cup tip before you leave us.
Oh, I think you've got to go the favourite. We'll get out to Werribee on Sunday and we'll get the latest on Deauville Legend. Just looks to be a cup that's falling away. Like we lost Durston only a couple of days ago. There's a decent tail to this race, so I think we have to default that way. James McDonald was pretty happy with Loft the other day, but the guys on ratings are just saying maybe he just needs to find a few lengths as well to be really competitive, the second favourite. But yeah, outside that, one horse who really impressed us in track work here on Tuesday morning was Jewis. Was at that stage preparing for the Empire Rose Stakes, was going to go 1,600 metres onto the quick back up into the 3,200 metres on Tuesday. But tell you what, she trained the house down here on Tuesday.
I like it. Thanks.
What about James McDonald? Can he go better than his 10 wins last season at this
The guy's soaked.
Yeah, sorry about that, cameraman Dan.
I think he got back to... he's all right. He's got to cheer up over the camera at the moment. I think James actually ended up losing one of those races, didn't he? He went down to 9, if I got that right or not. But anyhow, here's just the flavour of the month here. They're telling us what he's got. Only 2 races where he's not favourite on Saturday. Is that right? Is it 7 of 9 or 7 of 10 where he's favourite? And he's got a full book for the entire card. He's got horses such as Animo and Nature Strip deeper into the carnival. He's just on fire, and we've seen him a lot because he's got a lot of media commitments and he handles those beautifully as well. He's a gun and he's a Kiwi who we're really proud of. It's about time he gets wider recognition in the sporting community too, isn't it, boys?
Absolutely. Hellberg time. Hey, thank you, Aidan. We really appreciate your time. We love the work you're doing. We're looking forward to that stuff on Sunday out there at Werribee as well, and we'll catch you later in the week. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, one of the best pieces we've got. Just keep an eye out for the Michael D piece. I think it's just about the best the work that we've done over here.
Great lead. Thanks, Aiden. There's Aiden Rodley, guys.
How good.
Hard worker though over there. He's everywhere, isn't he? Seems to be. No comment.
Important 48 hours in the shape of the Melbourne Cup. We saw Durston come out, 24 hours ago, on the Victorian vet inspection, and a lot of those European horses haven't been vetted up yet prior to the Saturday, the closing point in terms of when they need to be vetted to get that clearance.
Okay.
So it's a bit of a watch and see. I don't want to preempt anything, but we've already seen one go by the wayside who didn't clear the vet certificate, and they're pretty shrewd in terms of what it needs to do in terms of a clearance. They've got to be 100% basically, and if they show any grey area, then they withdraw those horses. So there might be a little bit to play out. Hopefully not, and we saw the horses that are still in the market and down to run take their place, but I think there's a little bit to play out.
Okay, we better get back to it. He's put us under immense pressure, of course, now, Aiden, with that piece. As good as
to a second breakfast.
As good as it was, we better get rattle our dags here. I want to go back to Sassy Merlot's trial, Steve, because in race number 6 here, the 1200 metres, he's right in the pointy end of the market, Sassy Merlot. He's first up. One, is there money for him? And two, how was that trial? I think there is footage here somewhere, but Sassy Merlot.
Yeah, I'll talk over the trial. It was a very good trial. I think the question about her is that we saw her earlier as a 3-year-old, just really strong form. She was a horse that put herself on speed here. You see in her trial, she's 3 wide, facing the breeze on speed there with the Moroni silks and the blinkers on. She wins this trial. I think the question mark you got to lead into this race here around Sassy Merlot is the last 2 or 3 starts as a 3-year-old. She missed them horribly out of the machine. She got so far back, even though she was rattling off quite often the best closing splits in those Cambridge breeders and also the Rotorua breeders against the older mares, she was in a position where she just couldn't win mathematically. But prior to that, as I mentioned, she was a horse that was able to have tactical speed, put herself in the race, would almost go too hard up front. She ran second at La Creek in a Gold Trail Stakes, or Desert Gold, should I mention, at Trentham. Prior to that, she ran third in the Wellington Guineas behind Seamus, so she probably has the best 3-year-old form in this particular race outside Pin Me Up. I'm going to take a chance on her. I saw enough out of that latest trial we saw there that we didn't see the vision coming out of the machine, but she was pretty good out of the barriers. Yep. She was able to put herself, as we saw, on speed, even though it was 3 wide facing the breeze, and she still had the audacity, albeit in a trial, to finish in that winning position. So if she can use that gate of barrier 2, Cameron Lammas, good to see him back at the races. If she can sit in the first 3 or 4, a little bit of cover, she has the best turn of foot in this race. From what I've seen on data, etc., she has the best turn of foot. And I think she'll be ready to go first up over 1,200 metres. She's probably a horse that is a sprinter miler, so she shouldn't be too far off the mark here. I've got her clearly as the horse to beat from what I saw last campaign.
Very good, $5 Sassy Merlot. That's Steve's selection in the race. Final thoughts here, Paul, and where would you be having a bet in the NZB Ready to Run Trainer Series 1200?
Look, I'm going to have a little stab on Pin Me Up. I really like the look of her. I like the way that Kelsey's riding at the moment as well. I'm willing to take that chance.
Same as Steve, isn't it? Quality horse, willing to take a chance.
And looked a lot better in that latest trial as well. So I don't think we'd be getting $5 if Pin Me Up hadn't had the issues that she's had. So
yep, no, fair enough.
I'm happy to have a little stab.
Okay, that's going to be interesting, intriguing race. I'll be watching those tangerine movements.
I reckon she drifts.
So we wait.
I reckon she drifts Pin Me Up.
Okay, fair enough. I mean, you're going for the quality, but you're going to get a little bit more, and there's nothing wrong with that. So that is going to be an intriguing race. Be watching those Te Akau movements very closely, with having potentially 5 in race number 6. Right, boys, I'm going to give it 7 minutes here to have a look at race number 8, the Richards Racing Limited 1,300 metres open handicap. And his Providence provides again, Steve.
You gained well back, so punters taking a little bit of insurance here, that they're backing her in each race on Saturday, including at Awapuni and in this particular race. Providence Provides 420 into 360 on option 208. Second favourite, Our Alley Cat, third up here, looking to peak, 450. That's its original quote. Thunder's been well played, loves the joint 8 into 6. Le Crier first up 650. Funny Girl also first up 750 out of turn to 8. A Dragon Queen also similar profile to Le Crier and Funny Girl, 8 out to 850. I'm a Rocker B, $9. Dear Oh Dear, 14. New York Jazz Manrico, the stablemates, 15.31 respectively, and Valetti also to 31 Ranky price. But look, overall summary. Thunder, the local, well identified, 8 into $6 now, and also Providence Provides 420 into 360.
Okay, Paul, what are your initial thoughts here? There's a few chances I would have suggested.
Once again, I'm going to have a little look just in behind Providence Provides, and I do like the look of the toppy there, Our Alley Cat. As Steve said, third up, and I think just ready to go. Look,
who's riding it? Do you know?
Kelsey.
Kelsey Hannon. Hello, I'm starting to sense a pattern. Yeah.
Look, when you've got a hot jock,
yeah.
you jump on.
Like a hot trainer or anything else, absolutely you do.
And probably wasn't suited under those weight for age conditions. Back here, I think, ready to go. So 450. There's another apprentice I like as well. I'm a Rocker B, Ace Lawson Carroll. What only has to carry 51 around this time, and it wasn't the worst last time out. So I'm a Rocker B, and Our Alley Cat I have.
Yeah, okay. Interesting. Steve, how would you be attacking this race? As if Thunder's been a shortener, I see Dragon Queen resumes. Funny Girls Trial, both Dragon Queen and Funny Girls Trial were pretty good behind Levante, I think.
Yeah, I'd fractionally lean towards Funny Girl in terms of the horses that resume here. I did like her trial. She was a little bit unlucky in the concluding stages up against the rail. She has enough tactical speed to put herself in the race, and she sits on the minimum here. I think with that claim, gets down around about 51 kegs with Taylor Mitchell aboard. Overall, I think it's a sticky race. Thab with the likes of Providence Provides. We've got a question mark. Does she start or not? You've got a few horses resuming here. The likes of Le Crier, Funny Girl and Dragon Queen. So we're just not sure there. Looking for a lead in terms of the market.
Have we had one at all or not really? Is it
No, not really. Okay. And also you've got the horses that have been performing on wetter surfaces in the last 4 to 6 weeks with naturally a better track. It's not going to be a heavy track, well, we're hoping at Matamata. So again, that just brings another element and variable into this race. So look, I'm not sure. I've got low confidence, in particular around Providence Provides if it was to be scratched. I thought Alley Cat, as I mentioned earlier, just a sense of timing third up here. Just didn't have all the favours in the Group 3 Swainess Stakes. Drop in class here. Just not sure where it maps. Purely on the basis of Manrico. Look, Manrico is the enigma in terms of the map because he's so up and down. He can sit in a more neutral position and then one start later he's going to jump and run and see himself leading. So he's at a $31 price. If he was going to be in that neutral position, there is a position for Our Alley Cat to be in the first 2 and running with Providence Provides. I think that would be the ideal situation around number 1, Our Alley Cat. And just on Kelsey, 5 wins from her last 30 rides at 17% strike rate, and that's exceeding market expectation, which sits at 12%. So what you mentioned there, Paul, she's definitely producing the numbers in a jockey that likes to put her horses in position and she can rate them up front. You look back in the last 7 days, she was very good in rating PC Pussycat at Te Rapa over a staying journey. She stacked them up, sprinted home, and then also Sequoia Star is basically is what 7 or 24 hours ago.
Yeah, John Barry,
Ottawa Park
right,
really stacked them out and outside leader and did the job there. So she's very good on a horse that has tactical speed and able to judge the tempo and obviously be a strong enough jockey even with that claim to rattle them home and be hard to chase. So.
That move around Thunder, what are you putting that down to? Is that the up and running factor against these first up runners and maybe the threat of a bit of rain?
Yeah, I think so. Look, he's no knock on a good track, but he's versatile, and I think that's the key around Thunder. He can operate on whatever surface you can present, so that's probably the insurance there that they're able to punt early doors around Thunder, and he loves the joint, just loves his home ground. How many wins has he had there now? He's had 10 starts with 3 wins and a placing, so he's got a good strike rate on this track than any other horse that he's coming up against, Thunder. So, look, he's got a sticky gate from barrier 11, but as I mentioned, he's up and running, and with that that question mark around those 3 horses that sit comfortably in the top 5 or 6 in the market, all presenting first up.
Yeah.
If none of them are ready to go, then there's a concern that there might be a little bit of value outside that. But if there was one horse I'll be gravitating towards out of those horses that resume, it is Funny Girl. Look, she has form last campaign around Al Vencedor and also Bonnie Lass as a 3-year-old. She gets down to 51 kilograms. She's produced first up, and I liked her trial. It was a really good trial. Levante won that trial. She looked like she probably should have finished at least in the top 3. She finished 4th, but she just got squeezed up against the paint/rail and was able not to finish off her trial. So she's probably the one horse out of those horses resuming I'd be leaning towards, but with no confidence.
Yeah. Second in that trial, Paul, behind Levante. Can you name that horse?
No.
Winning for All. Winning for All.
Who trains there?
It's just one of many horses you've got to share.
Next Saturday at Te Rapa, we can review Winning for All.
Oh.
Fingers crossed, all going well. Okay, so you've settled with Funny Girl out of those ones, but Paul, what are your final thoughts here? Because we do need to wind it up. Sounds like you might be near the top of the book here.
Yeah, I'm going top weight here. Al Alley capped, 450 currently.
Okay, boys, intriguing racing. Obviously, Derby Day as well. Sharp and Smart and Mr. Maestro. Am I going to get that? Did I get that right this time? I did, Mr.
Spot
Maestro.
on.
Yeah, okay, very good in the Creek. And she's lickety split as well, so plenty to like there. But we better get to our best bets. Paul, you continue to ride the highs. See plus 39% return on investment for your best bets. Where are you going here? A nice short price favourite for us on Saturday?
I'll sort of open the shoulders this
hello.
time. And I'm going to have a look at the Fielding Gold Cup and Charm Star. Look, she won here, the Manawatu Breeders last season. She's been Group 1 placed, as I said earlier, both sides of the Tasman. I love the price.
Just love the $10.
I do. I do. I couldn't pass it up.
Yeah, well, I remember you tipped us Sharp and Smart when it won at Pukekohe. I think it was its Maiden at a big price as well. So you do have a bit of a tendency to find one like this.
Yeah, it was a little bit of a head bobber with, I think, Opie Bosson was on a Tiako, almost an odds-on pop favourite.
Right, good to get the nod
But
there.
yep, Sharp and Smart. Learned a few lessons from the first start and got it. And now look where we are.
Yeah, exactly. We're sharp end of a Victorian derby, so good luck to the team there, the Rogerson team there. Steve, your bet of the week. You continue to climb up as well. Where'd you settle?
I've gone with Sassy Merlot. I found it difficult to really be keen on a horse up and down the card, not just the weather, but I just thought they were very competitive races, but probably gone to one of the more competitive races on the day at Matamata, Sassy Merlot in race 6 in the 75 sprint. I just feel she brings the best form as a 3-year-old in that race outside Pin Me Up, which I'm just going to take a little bit of a set against purely on its program and coming back from an injury in the Karaka Classic. But Sassy Merlot, if she can jump with them and be in the first half a dozen on the map, she has the best turn of foot. I liked her trial leading in. You look at her form last preparation, she was very good in behind our best La Creek. Also in the the Rotorua Breeders, she was very strong against the older mares, so she's got quality.
Yeah, very good. Okay, $5 for Steve Sassy Merlot, $10 Charm Star Paul Moady, so I'm thinking I've going to take a little bit of the $50 double. Here's the price boost this week, guys. You get to vote on Twitter. Go to TAB Racing on the Twitter and vote for the horse you want to see prize boosted for Saturday. Darlington County at Awapuni Achieve, Matamata Race 9 in secret. James McDonald and the Godolphin team there, and obviously La Creek, I think will be popular. Vote, and if you leave a comment, you'll be in with a chance to win a $100 bonus bet. So go to the Twitter handle TAB Racing. You'll get cast your vote and leave us a comment to be in the chance to win $100. How are the promos looking this week, Paul? What do we got for us?
We've got the enhanced bonus back once again this Saturday, Derby Day, on the first 4 races at Matamata, Awapuni, Rosehill and Flemington. Just place a fixed odds win bet on any of those races, and if your runner finishes 2nd, 3rd, 4th or 5th,
This fifth
or
thing's got
5th,
me. Oh, yeah.
we'll give you your money back up to $50 as a bonus bet. And we haven't forgot Melbourne Cup Day, also an enhanced bonus back promotion on Melbourne Cup Day, the first 4 races from Wingatui, Pukekohe, Flemington and Randwick.
The fun doesn't stop, boys, especially at this time of year, Steve.
They start early on Cup Day, don't they?
Yeah, they always
Particularly
do,
at
don't they?
Flemington. I think it's roughly around about a midday start. He's on time. So
I love that. Righto, we better go. We've held you long enough. Thanks for joining us. BP back next week, boys.
I hope so.
2,000 Guineas Day, first day of the carnival.
Yeah, going to be looking forward to it. And
Thanks
we're
to
gonna
Aiden.
Yeah, thank you to Aiden. We better say that. And thank you to you. Have a great Melbourne Cup week. We'll see you again in 7 days' time. 2000 Guineas Day down at Riccarton. Thanks for joining us on the Leg Up.